Hey guys, hi, Bryson here, and welcome to my show. And today we are going to take a look at someone that married an older woman that just happens to be rich and became wealthy by the age of 20. I want to find out basically if this guy was a scammer or not a scammer, okay? Now, by the way, if you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified when I post a new video. On the top of that, also destroy the like button. But let's get right into this video. Oh my God.
Hey, I'm Michael, and even though I grew up poor, I went to a school full of rich and spoiled kids.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Usually it might be because of the zip code where he actually lives, but so far his name is Michael, grew up poor, but went to a very wealthy school. And he ended up, remember, marrying an older lady to actually make money, or basically maybe because he fell in love. But we're going to find out by the end of this video.
The worst part was being picked on by my classmate, Paul. He always asked me why I was walking to school instead of driving my own car.
Oh yeah? Oh my gosh, Paul is such a mean guy. Why would you say that, Paul? I don't know, like people think, like, I don't know, man. High school is such a weird place. Like none of the stuff that makes sense in high school makes sense today, okay? None of it makes sense anymore. Like now it's like, hey, you have a car? Like why? It's so expensive, you know? Makes no sense, but let's keep watching.
Of course, he knew my family didn't have enough money to buy me a car, but he simply enjoyed reminding me that his parents were richer than mine. Trust.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb on Paul's part, but you know, kind of like not unique either. So, you know how it is, man. There's a lot of mean people out there. You kind of have to grow some thick skin also.
Me. I hated Paul. But every time he made fun of me, I swore myself that someday I would be richer than him. The only question was, how?
How? Well, in reality, you're probably already richer than Paul. The thing is that Paul, if he doesn't have a job, okay, all his money comes from his parents. Because his parents are not in the picture anymore. Basically, Paul has nothing aside from the inheritance he's actually going to get, okay? But, you know, again, high school is such a weird place, you know, makes no sense.
I wasn't the smartest person in the world, and frankly, I wasn't hardworking either.
By the way, it's been proven that you don't have to be like smart to become a millionaire. Like you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, like Einstein genius or anything like that. The answer is no. It's not about that. It's about picking the right career and also investing. That's all it really is about.
Well, after months of me trying to find an easy way to become rich, I had an idea. What if I would marry a rich and old widow?
Oh my God, marry a rich and old widow. Okay, so from this point of view, it looks like this was his plan all along. Now, guys, comment down below, okay? Would you marry someone that you don't love just for money, assuming that they're going to last maybe like 10 to 20 years alive? The answer is, I would never do that. Like 10 years or 20 years with someone I don't love or whatever, the answer is no. If I care about the person, I love them, no big deal. But the answer is just for money, man, it's a miserable life. Very miserable.
I mean, I was handsome and pretty good at talking to other people. I thought that every grandma would see me as a great catch. But
such a weird video. I don't understand.
Where could I meet an old and rich widow? I was just some poor guy from New York.
He actually lives in New York? That's insane. So how can you be poor but live in New York and also go to a very rich school? The answer is he probably lived in a very nice zip code. And I'm not 100% sure about like, hey, how poor his parents actually were, okay? To be honest with you, I'm just being honest here.
I decided to do some internet research, and bingo! I found dozens of articles about an old and widowed woman whose rich husbands had died a long time ago.
No way, are you serious? Is that like a true thing? And then he just like did research on them? That's insane. I had no idea it was like public information. That shouldn't be public information at all. Because people are gonna be targeted, right? That's not cool at all. I don't agree with it. By the way, most people that want to meet people that have money usually go to like country clubs and stuff like that to meet those people and then marry them. But this is just, again, another strange video.
I decided to go for one specific widow. Let's call her Elizabeth. She was 72, and her husband had been one of the wealthiest fashion designers in the world.
Wow, one of the wealthiest fashion designer, and she is 72 years old. Remember, guys, okay, this guy is like around 18 to 20 years old, something like that. He's going for a 72-year-old woman. That's what is that, like a 50-year like age gap? It's crazy.
Well, until he died of a heart attack. The only question was, how could I meet up with her? I decided to call her secretary, and I pretended to work for the New York Times.
Oh my God, this guy is a predator. Let's be honest, right? It's predatory. By the way, it's very predatory to try to take advantage of older people. It's not cool. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I don't even find it funny, to be honest. At this point, I'm just like, I want to know how this story ends.
I asked if Elizabeth was interested in giving an interview about her deceased husband. The secretary said, Elizabeth doesn't do interviews, but she will attend a charity event inside the Hyatt Regency Hotel next week. You can try your luck and approach her there.
Oh my God. And the secretary just gave her all the free information. This guy right here is a scam artist. Scam artist!
Bingo. But then I learned that a ticket to the event cost $500. To be able to afford it, I had to beg my mom for 2 hours straight.
My mom is poor. My parents are poor. I go to a rich school, but then they just got $500. In reality, I think this rich, like, poor kid story is so, like, false, okay? I think in reality, like, this kid right here maybe grew up in, like, a middle-class neighborhood. Maybe his parents spent too much money, couldn't afford the house. I understand all that stuff. It's actually, like, struggling and actually being poor, okay? It's a big difference. Like, poor is, like, you live in a shelter. If you have, like, a home, you're struggling a little bit, yeah, I get that. But this kid right here, man, is full of it, okay? He's just full of it.
I told her, if you give me those $500, I will pay you $500,000 back someday. When she finally gave me the money, she said, I don't have much more, so don't waste it. I thanked her 1,000 times and went on to buy the $500 ticket.
You could have probably bought a car with that $500 and go to school, right? I don't understand none of this stuff, man. But this is a genius plan. I'm about to go on Google right now, find me an old lady, you know? Sorry to my girlfriend of 4 years, you know, it's just not working out.
And rent a good suit for a day. When I arrived at the event, I was super nervous. I felt so out of place around those old and wealthy people. But then I saw Elizabeth.
By the way, this is a pretty cool way to actually meet people, right? It's a very cool way to meet people and network and basically build relationships. It's a very cool way. So it's not just about like, hey, I'm going to take advantage of this old lady, but it's also a cool way to go to charity events and then meet these people and basically learn from them. It's pretty awesome if you ask me.
She didn't look very happy. She almost looked sad and bored. When she came back from the restroom, I took my chance and said hi to her. She was pleasantly surprised and said, Oh, sir, with whom do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Oh, look at that language. Oh, sir, with who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? I don't know why I use that accent.
I said, I'm Michael. My uncle invited me to this event, but I don't have anyone to talk to.
My uncle invited me to this event. He's a liar, a manipulator, a scammer. But let's make fun of Paul, guys, okay? Because Paul said you don't have a car. I think he's worse than Paul.
She said, Oh, come sit at my table. Those people here are so boring anyway. Well, that's how it started. We talked for hours.
That is so interesting, you know? What I'm hearing is that maybe he just might fall in love with Elizabeth here, right? But, you know, like such a weird story, guys, okay? What would you do? Okay, what would you do? Let's go to some charity events, guys, okay? Let's meet up and find some old ladies to actually get, okay? So it's the best thing ever.
We were joking and laughing, and the sad old lady turned into a happy and energetic woman again. When the event reached its end, I said, If you ever want to meet again, I'll give you my phone number. She said, Of course.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You know, by the way, guys, if I'm being honest here, okay, say for example, you know someone that is your family, and for example, they have a lot of money, but then you have this young guy that's out of nowhere interested in them. The answer is just say like, hey, if you love him and he loves you, basically just get a prenup. That way, whatever she has stays with her, and whatever he has stays with him. But the idea is that way, it's not like, hey, he gets everything, okay? Because in reality, if he really loves her, he'll be like, yeah, I'll sign it. I don't care. It's all about her, not about you guys, you know? So just keep that in mind, okay? Prenup is very important.
I'd love to spend time with someone as young and fun as you. Then, 3 days later, she invited me to her villa inside the Hamptons.
A villa inside the Hamptons. Wow.
I arrived, I checked the estimated value of her home on Zillow.com, and it said $40 million.
$40 million. Oh my God, that's insane. That's insane. And by the way, it's just a good story to take from this again, okay, guys? Just use what he did, but to meet people that are wealthy and build connections, not just like try to be a predator, okay? This is 40 million is a lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money.
Wow. But I told you, her husband had been one of the richest and most successful fashion designers in the world. So when I arrived, her butler picked me up and escorted me to Elizabeth. She was wearing a pink outfit and said, "Oh, there you are.
Oh my god, this is insane. This is absolutely a crazy story. I'm like so intrigued. I'm still mad at him, but I'm not like 100% sure yet.
so happy you took the time to visit me." I gotta admit, talking to her was a lot of fun. But nothing else happened. At least not on our first date. But on our second date,
Oh my god, what is going on here, guys? What is going on here? I just don't know how I feel about this story.
we had a little bit too much champagne and we kissed. I know, how gross. But the champagne made it easier for me, and of course, Elizabeth was on cloud 9.
Oh my god. He said the champagne made it easier for me to kind of like kiss this older lady, and she was just like very happy, right? Guys, I don't know, man. This is just a bad, sad story. I hope it has a happy ending though.
She was so happy to have a handsome and young guy like me as her lover. She also told me about her family. She said none of them visited her because all they did was party in Hollywood.
Oh, okay. By the way, that's why you hear a lot of stories that basically older people that are wealthy, that don't really have a lot of people around them, basically end up leaving like most of their money to like a charity, sometimes even like a dog. It's crazy, but it's true. You know, the answer is, you know, just because you're very successful with money doesn't mean you're successful when it comes to relationships, okay? And that's also very important. And that's why a lot of the times this things happens, okay? Because basically has no one around her to actually protect her or kind of like, hey, be careful, you know? It's crazy.
She said they only waited for her to die and take her inheritance. I told her how sorry I felt for her. And she said, "It's okay. You are a gentleman. You know how to treat a lady like me." That's where our love story started. And for the
Does it matter how something started, or does it matter how it ends and how it actually builds up, guys? What does it matter? He went there to basically like be a gold digger, but does it matter that he fell in love with her? Let's find out.
next 2 years, we spent all our time together, traveling all over Europe, sleeping in the finest hotels, and
By the way, just to clarify here, I'm assuming that by this point he graduated from high school. He's 20 years old. And she never asked like, hey, what about your job? What about college? What about this? what about what about everything, okay? Like, what's going on here?
always flying private jets. Everything was going well until her family found out she was dating me, a 20-year-old boy. They called Elizabeth and told her to break up with me because
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting. You know, your family is so protective over the things that might happen to you, but they don't care about her at the point of like, hey, come spend time with me, come take care of me, come do this with me, you know? No, it's all about, oh, it's just the money. Be careful. This guy's gonna steal all your money. He's after your money. So from that perspective, I understand it, you know, but I don't blame Elizabeth just like falling in love with this guy and maybe wanted to give him his money too, you know? It's a very strange idea.
according to them, I was only after her money. But Elizabeth was a smart woman. She perfectly knew that part of why I was her boyfriend was a luxurious life she was providing me. But her family didn't care that I made Elizabeth happy.
Yeah, you know, I actually like that. You know, Elizabeth understands. She's not stupid. She knows exactly why, you know, she's there. It's like she has a lot of miles on her, right? She's an older lady. She knows exactly what's going on here. But she's also enjoying herself, like being happy and spending like her last time, like her last moments with her. You know, so with him, I mean. So in a way, I understand that.
They kept trying to destroy our relationship. Well, at least until Elizabeth broke off all contact with them. She was happy having me as her boyfriend, and that's all that mattered to her.
You know, the weird thing is that basically when you try to help someone like in a negative way, usually you're just pushing them away. So the best would probably help Elizabeth here would have been like, hey, Elizabeth, I'm sorry that we weren't around as much. Maybe spend more time around her and her boyfriend also, without being like judgmental. But when the time comes, like, hey, let's get married or whatever, be like, hey, Elizabeth, you know, why not get a prenup? If he loves you, that way you're good and everything is fine, right? But just don't show interest in Elizabeth now that basically she found someone else, right? It's again a very weird story, but it is turning for the best in a way.
And a week later, she came up to me and said, "Michael, let's get married." And of course, I said yes. I understand that people assume I only married her to get her money, but that's not true.
That's not true. But the whole story is about how I kind of married her just for her money. It just happens that I actually fell in love with her after, well, 2 years plus, right? So it's a whole different game now.
I really liked her. But then, just 6 months into our marriage, she didn't wake up from her sleep. It was tragic, and the doctor suspected that she had accidentally taken the wrong pills the night before. But it didn't matter, because I was her husband at the time of her death.
What the heck is going on here? She took the wrong pills. That's very suspicious, honestly. So it sounds like an investigation to me, right? But 6 months later, after marrying this guy, she's done. That's insane.
So, I was legally entitled to her whole fortune. And trust me, it was a very big fortune. I thought about giving some part of the inheritance to her family, but all of them already had a few million on their bank account, and
yeah, so maybe, oh my God, man. What would he do in that situation, guys? Okay, Elizabeth passes away. He gets all of her fortune. I'm not sure how that actually works, by the way, because it's only like 6 months into the marriage. It doesn't really sound like that accurate. But to get back all that money.
And they had always treated Elizabeth like trash, so I decided to keep the money for myself.
I bet he went back to his mom and gave her $500K for that $500 he gave her, right? Come on, let's hear it. Let's just hear it.
Of course, they tried to sue me, claiming I had killed Elizabeth. But none of their accusations had any truth to them. And in the end, I let my lawyers handle it. But of course,
at this point, this guy had a lawyer. He became Paul, basically, right? Did he go back to Paul? Did he go back to his mom? This is such a cruel story in a sense, right? But let's watch the end, guys.
I hadn't forgotten why I had wanted to become rich in the first place. After I had received Elizabeth's money on my bank account, the first thing I did was buy a Bugatti Veyron Supersport for $2 million in cash.
The first thing I did when I got all my money, guys, was basically I bought a car, a liability. And I went ahead and I went to Paul's house and I told him, hey, Paul, look at my Bugatti. It's losing money while I drive it. Isn't this cool? Oh no, you have a nice car, Michael. I'm so mad at you. My parents, oh my God, where's the money? It's such a stupid thing. So stupid.
And then I drove it to Paul's house. You remember the guy that made fun of me in high school? I rang the bell at his parents' home to see if he was still living there. And indeed, he opened the door and looked very surprised to see me. He said, Michael, what
are you doing here? Oh my God, what is going on here? Such a stupid story.
are you doing here? And I said, I just wanted to inform you that I have hundreds of times more money than your stupid parents. Just come. I want to show you my car. We walked to my car, and Paul looked almost shocked.
Oh my God. People do things for like the wrong reasons, but sometimes the wrong reasons can end up getting you a lot of money, according to Michael here and Paul's story, right? So in a way, he owes half of his fortune to Paul, and he should sue Paul, or Paul should sue him to get his money back.
He said, there is no way that's your car. You must have rented it. But I knew he would ask that question. So I opened the trunk, where I had stored $5 million in cash. I said, you think I rented these too?
It's just so stupid, guys. It's just so stupid. And I would not be surprised, basically, in 5 years, or maybe like 7 years or 3 years, this guy loses all the money. Because obviously, he's going to spend it on a lot of stupid stuff, okay?
Paul didn't respond. And then I went right in front of his face and said, now you know who's balling. And then I went into my car and just drove away. Since then, I've sent Paul a Christmas card of me next to one of my cars every single Christmas.
This guy is so petty, bro. So petty.
Oh, and do you remember how I promised my mom to pay her $500,000 back for the
Well, I gave her $5 million.
$500 she gave me? Well, I gave her much, much more money. Because she really deserved it.
And that is the end of this terrible predatory story. Now I'll be honest with you guys, okay? This channel is called Share My Story. It has millions of views, like 10 million views. There's just one video right here. But the answer is it a 100% true story? I don't know. I just don't know, guys, okay? But if it is a true story, it is a very sad story. And to be honest, I'm happy that Elizabeth, was happy. you know, maybe she gave her money to the wrong person, but then the family was also like the wrong people also. So in reality, I don't know. But then again, we just have Michael's perspective and not really Elizabeth's perspective or the family's perspective, you know? So in reality, I don't know who was wrong about the money. But in the end, Michael got the money and he got exactly what he wanted. But I did learn one thing here, okay? You have to surround yourself with people that are successful. So to do that, go to charities, go to country clubs, go to Manhattan, go meet people, you know? And I myself have to do that also, but I don't. I rarely do that, okay? But it's interesting to meet other people, okay? But guys, comment down below and let me know. What do you do what Michael did to get a fortune this large? Comment down below, let me know. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. As always, if you like this video, like this video. And on top of that, also, if you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. And also follow me on Instagram, Bryson. And before I go, if you want to watch another video, basically on a real life gold digger with instructions, we'll watch this video right here. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.